Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Jack.
And I'm Nick.
I'm going to take this opportunity today to talk to you about Cure to Freedom. So this is a project that Nick has been working on for a very long time, and this has been his life's purpose for quite a while now.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, and inadvertently, this has also been my life purpose as well. So we had an amazing opportunity in Costa Rica to connect and really resonate with each other. So we have decided to join forces and collaborate on a transformational project for not only for ourselves but for the people that we help and work with as well. So I'll sort of take this opportunity today to share our stories, how we got to the point that we did currently, sort of the hardships we went through, the transformations that we both went through, how we freed ourselves from the limitations that we had set in our lives previously. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a great story for you guys to hear, so you get to know a bit about us some more and understand that we're not just some random people talking a whole bunch of random stuff. We've really lived it. We've really been through it. We've done the work, and we continue to do the work. Yeah. So I think we'll start with you, Nick. This has been your project for quite some time.
Yeah, around 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it's been amazing. You've really shared a lot with me since we've started talking, since we've connected, and it's been an amazing story. It's been a rough journey to start with, but you've really made some incredible progress and transformations in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love for you to sort of share how you got to this point, how you are able to help people now, what it is that you went through in your life.
So 3 years ago, I came to Costa Rica and I had no plan or idea what I was going to do, but I had like my coaching business that I started in Belgium. I've been doing for a year. And before I did that, I was a store manager. So I had 15 people working for me and I felt connected to those people. There's still, many of them are my friends still. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that I was coaching them while I was managing them. And so I really found a lot of purpose in that.
Yeah.
And before that, before I was a manager, I always was looking for myself. I'm now 35 with a bit of an age difference, me and Jack. You're 26, correct?
26 recently, yeah.
Yes, not 24. And so when I was 24 myself, I was in my lowest low in my life. I was obese. I was a chain smoker. I was highly medicated. And I was living with my parents, living from government money. And so when I was at the lowest low, I decided to cure myself towards freedom. And it took me 7 years to completely free myself from my medication, from my addictions, and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to coach people with the same challenge. But what I noticed, and that's also when I met Jack, is that when you try to help people at the lowest bottom with a low capacity, it's really hard to do that. Mm. So meeting Jack, I decided to park that idea about helping that kind of people and trying to upscale it to people like also coaching Costa Rica, high achievers. Mm-hmm. And I noticed I have a lot of value to bring to them because of all of my experiences I had the last 10 years.
Yeah. Amazing. So when did you said it took you 7 years to cure yourself. When did the pain really start?
Started?
Yeah.
When I was 17. And then I got my first drug-induced psychosis.
Okay.
And I was completely blind. And what I noticed is as I develop myself, that the more that you start to become aware of yourself, the more you start to see. But you need to have people who can help you with that. And then I went looking for teachers and books and many other things that really helped me out of that.
Mm-hmm. And did you find any sort of success or value in the externalities in these teachers or books? Or
yeah. And when you would say which one? All of them. It's a combination of all of things. I believe there isn't like one solution. It's really about consistency.
Yeah.
And about showing up for yourself every day, and that's how you can be free of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's really interesting to me because I spent a lot of time looking for answers elsewhere from people and from books, and from my own experience, nothing really maybe I was searching for that one thing, but nothing was really sort of clicking with me. When I found the right teacher, that really was transformational for me. But it's interesting that you found a lot of value in the stuff from everywhere straight away.
I am a holistic coach, so I always, when I talk to people or with my teachers, I always try to look at the things they have to offer. And I believe we can all teach each other something. It's not about that there is like this one person with that one unique solution.
Yeah.
That's also I will never try to sell as a coach. I think it's really about finding, as you said, someone you connect with, and then you can grow it. But many people, they're looking for the miracle thing that will save them, but you need to be the miracle yourself. We are not selling magic here. We are selling something you can work with, but you need to put in the effort, for sure.
Of course, I think that's where a lot of people are really skeptical about the whole self-development and healing side of things, because there are people who sort of promote this. I'll just do this one thing. And
they get rich quick scam.
Get rich quick and fix all of your problems. And I think it really ruins the credibility of people who can genuinely help.
Yeah, and it's because we are living today in a society where they promote that kind of engagement because they want to sell you a dream.
Yeah.
And it's not only in the coaching industry, it's everywhere. So people are looking for a quick fix way to be cured. But the curing itself is a lifestyle. And that's the difference. You need to look at it every single day, show love for yourself, and then you find joy in the pain.
Yeah. Definitely. It's you gotta stay positive throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even if you're not seeing instant results. It's something I sort of lived by during my main healing process was nothing happens overnight until it does.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you're putting in the work, you're not just gonna wake up, you're not just gonna do something and you feel instantly satisfied or healed. But then one day you'll wake up and you'll think, wow, this has all been doing something, and you really
all of those little bits, they become one bigger thing.
All the little bits, it's like a table, and you're adding things to the positive things, and you're not adding things to the negative things. The more positive things you do, it all accumulates. It's all like a point system.
Yeah,
in your life. So, what were some pivotal points in your journey that led you to becoming a coach?
Well, for me, it definitely was the experience when I became a manager. So I did for 1 year, and having those people, when I saw how they transformed their life, and how I also noticed that I was capable of so much more than I thought, because I never did something with responsibility.
Yeah.
And I always been interested in self-development. I have many books in my library, and I listen to podcasts, and so I've always been obsessed with that content. So I thought, why not make it into an occupation? And also, I during my journey, I met many people who tell me they really value what I told them. And so, that's how the ball started rolling. So from healing my own pain and also seeing how I can bring value to the table to others. Yeah.
Amazing. Was there a key moment or point in your healing journey that you really thought, wow, I am free. I have really succeeded in my path, in my journey?
I think it were like more of milestones, you could say, but it's not like that one moment or that one lesson. It's like, as we told, an accumulation of many things, and I think it's a journey that never ends. So I feel free from many things, but I'm also still on my journey of developing myself and increasing.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was talking more towards like a something that you've done, or like something that you've achieved, and you just thought, wow, I never thought I'd be able to do this, or it's been so long since I've done something like this. Is there anything like that you've been able yourself to do?
Yeah, so an important part of my growth has been leaving my comfort zone. I think that's like so essential, because if you want to grow your fears, you need to also conquer them. One of those things was getting my driving license. It was really hard for me to get, because I also went through 2 traumatic car accidents when I was younger.
Wow.
Yeah, like really, I could have been dead in both of them. But I overcame my fear to drive. When my last accident, I could barely sit next to someone in a car. That's how afraid I was.
Wow.
And I overcame that. So that was like a milestone for me, going to Costa Rica, because I didn't only have the fear to drive, but also to travel.
Yeah, sure.
And so I done that only 3 years ago that I left to Costa Rica. And yeah, those were definitely things that have changed my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your time in Costa Rica, that's sort of the first like big trip that you've had.
Yeah,
especially as a solo sort of expedition.
Yeah, it was like a huge step for me. And before that, I also moved from my hometown to another town for 3 years, which was also a huge step, where I also was a manager and moved with my girlfriend and all those things for the first time. But Costa Rica was like 100 times more intense, of course, than doing that step.
Yeah. You enjoyed it though?
Yeah, 100%. I would not change anything. Also the bad things that happened to me, I wouldn't change it. I learned so much from it.
Yeah, I think that's a great trait for someone to have, is acceptance of the bad things. Even calling them bad things is, I don't think it's great or valuable in any sort of sense. They're all lessons and they're all experiences, and that's where wisdom and growth really comes from, is from the failures and the lessons.
Yeah,
always the most unexpected stuff as well.
For sure.
Yeah,
but that happens in the good sense of the word and the bad. So for sure.
Yeah, amazing. And you've coached a lot of different people with self-development, semen retention, overcoming addiction, freeing themselves from their limiting beliefs, raising their paradigm. Out of those, I know you take a holistic approach, but what do you feel? Where do you feel the most transformation comes with the sort of people you coach? Is there like a type of person that you really resonate with, and you'll be able to truly be able to help them a lot?
Well, it can happens unexpectedly. So I'm just gonna share the story. So I was invited to a Halloween party in Ecovia in Costa Rica, and it was dark, and I never been in that street, and so I tried to park myself backwards, but I drove my car into a ditch. So I was completely stuck in that street.
Yeah.
And so the host of that party was Larry, who is still one of my friends and clients that I'm still coaching. I asked him, can I sleep here? Because I cannot go back. I need to get a tow truck the next day. In Costa Rica, everybody stops working around 4, so it was impossible to get home. And so I started talking with him, like with this really successful entrepreneur, and the conversation just flowed. And this guy is like a high achiever, and then I noticed how much value I could give to him. And so I decided, then the idea started to grow inside me that I really enjoy spending time with people who live at that level, and also how much value I can give to them, in the sense of how can you, for example, cultivate your sexual energy as a man, and how can you, there are so many things that I was surprised by of the value I can give to them.
Right, surprising yourself.
Yeah, because I always was helping people who were at a way lower level. Maybe we should not talk in that way, but there is a difference.
Not as far along the path. Is the way I like to put it. Everyone's on the same path. Everyone has that that power
for sure,
and worthiness inside them. It's whether I know you don't like the term awakening, but whether you've sort of been opened to the idea of the true potential of
exactly
the power we have.
I think when I use terms like higher or lower, it's more about people who are on a purpose and people who aren't. You have people, you have drifters, and it's not about good or bad. It's more about how are you managing your life. And so I realized that I wasn't managing my life really well. I was doing drugs, I was overeating and I had a sex addiction and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I would say in that time frame of my life, I was at a lower level. I was drifting away from my purpose or not even looking for it.
Yeah.
And now that I am, now I can see how I can help others in that sense. Yeah, that's, I would say, the difference between high and low. Yeah.
When did you really come to the realization that that was your life purpose?
I would say, yeah, when I started the coaching business. So when I quit corporates, I actually, before I even quit, I knew I wanted to be a coach. And then I took the time for it.
Okay, so that's sort of how you got into it then. You already had a job, but you knew that that's what you wanted to do. So did you have any clients before you quit the job, or did you just sort of quit to go all in?
Well, technically I got fired.
Right.
But I'm so grateful for that, because then I realized I believe that things don't happen like by accident. So I was really grateful that it happened, because it opened all possibilities for me.
Yeah.
Because I realized that I raised my paradigm. Because if I wanted to look for a job, I wouldn't be looking for things like, I don't know, dishwasher, but I could go to the advertisements for managers. So I realized from now on, I can go for this kind of jobs. And then I thought, why should I limit myself to a manager? Why can I be an entrepreneur? And for me, that's like complete freedom. It's when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And also when I stopped listening to my environments, people wouldn't believe me that I'd be able to do it, because I knew in the past I proved them so wrong so many times. And I thought, like, it will be the same.
Yeah, I mean, you have a beautiful story, and it's it really is clear as to why you want to help people. And I mean, it's obvious from the clients that you've had and people you've worked with.
Yeah.
Even myself, you're coaching me now with quitting smoking. It's hasn't been a part of my life for too long. It's sort of been 5-ish years, 6-ish years I've been smoking. I actually smoked weed before I smoked cigarettes, and not long ago, about 10 days ago, was the anniversary of my sobriety. So
Congratulations, man.
yeah, I'm 1 year sober from weed and from alcohol, and cigarettes just seem to have stuck with me during that time. And yeah, so today is my first day clean of cigarettes on the process of quitting, but the journey to freedom. Yeah.
And I also made the commitment at the same day that I would quit coffee. So I think it's time to quit the bullshit. Yeah, when I met you, like in Costa Rica, I really felt there was something about you. And then we started talking and connecting, and I think you have so much to offer, and I think it would be great that you can also remove your distractions and really go into that.
Yeah. So
if you would go back before Costa Rica and back to Australia, how was your life there?
Well, in Australia was where all the transformation happened for me. So I was in Costa Rica for about 5 months. Nick was there for about 3 years. And before Costa Rica, before I went there, I spent a year in Australia. Now, before I left to Australia, I was an electrician, self-employed. I was earning good money. I was enjoying my lifestyle, maybe with some ignorance to the online world. I was really just sort of using social media and the internet I was being used by it rather than using it myself. But up until that point, I really had no awareness of that sort of higher level of thinking and performing and achieving. So what led me to Australia was my boss, who is like my brother, Chris. He was coming to a point where he wanted to raise a family with his wife.
Okay.
And he had a business and was going to pass it down to me. It was only me and him that worked in the business.
Okay.
So I was in a position where I was earning good money and had work every single day and doing stuff. And I was going to be handed the business to have it as my own baby, and really maximize my own potential within that realm, maybe hire some people, and I felt like that wasn't the way. I don't know what it was. I still can't explain it now, but I just knew that I had to get away from there. I've done a lot of traveling in the past, been to maybe 20 different countries, but Australia was the first time I went full solo for a long period of time. And it was a big step. It was scary. I was majorly socially anxious because of my weed addiction and the environment, the internal environment that I'd created for myself because of my addictions and my vices and all of these things. I really found it hard to not only connect with an individual, but really express myself in front of people and with other people. So it was a really confusing time when this sort of feeling was coming over me. It was like I had this opportunity, but this opportunity was capped here. And it was like my soul knew that I needed to break through that ceiling that I'd created for myself and really take myself to the next level. So I wasn't expecting anything from Australia. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen, where I was going to end up. I only booked a hostel for the first 2 weeks. No, I didn't know anyone, no jobs, nothing like that. And I went there and I met some other English boys and we partied and smoked a bunch of weed and done drugs and went out partying and all sorts of stuff. And it got to a point where I had a night out to an event and we were pre-drinking. It was me and my friend. And we started drinking at my house and then we went to her house and carried on drinking before we went out. And I woke up in the morning and I was pissed off that we didn't even get to go to the event. And then I saw on my phone all these videos of me just absolutely wasted and really messed up. And that was the first big time where I haven't really remembered anything. It was completely blank from my vision. And that was sort of the killer point of, I need to change. Because up until that point, my journey itself had led me down a very dark path, right? I was suffering with chronic pain and fatigue and a whole host of other problems for over a decade, nearly 11 years, basically. Starting from the age of 15. It started with some pains in my feet. I've always been a hard worker, right? I've always gone after it and been active doing things. Where then at the age of 15, my feet just started to hurt. It was a bit of a weird sensation. I didn't really think too much of it, but by the time I was 16, I had to be getting custom soles, like cushioned soles and special things for my feet. By the age of almost 17, I was wearing knee supports on both knees. Basically all day. Got to the point where the pain spread up my feet and into my knees. And I couldn't really stand up. I had to lean on things to support myself. I was majorly active when I was, all throughout my childhood and my teens and stuff, because I just love nature and outside and being active and doing sports. But it got to the point where the pain was so overwhelming that I had to detach myself from the things that I loved. And throughout those 10 years, I spent a lot of time seeing doctors and specialists and all sorts of things and did every single blood test you can imagine. Saw a whole bunch of specialists and tests and stuff. There's illness in my family. My granddad and my sister both have MS. So we've done a lot of extensive testing. Everything just came back normal. And so I ended up hating not only myself, but the people who were trying to look out for me. And I got to some really, really dark places. The pain sort of secluded me from the people around me, my friends, but also from myself. I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. I had no motivation to wake up. The way I saw it, the paradigm I created for myself was that at all times, my brain was split into 50-50. where 50% of my brain was just thinking about pain that was in my body, and the other 50% had any sort of ability to really do anything. It was, really, really dark path that I sort of led myself down. And I really didn't see a way out.
Wow.
Yeah. And then in Australia, it really, I knew something had to change. I was telling myself for so long, if I don't do something about this and change, then I won't be able to walk by the time I'm 30.
Wow.
I really couldn't. I couldn't stand up. I had to lean on things. And I couldn't go for runs. I couldn't skateboard. I had to quit skateboarding. I love swimming. I had to really cut down on the swimming. I just had no energy or motivation to do anything. So in Australia, after that amazing night that I had, I decided with intent that this was the last time that I will ever be experiencing this, ever be at this lower level. And
so then you quit drinking?
I quit drinking and weed that day.
It's a year ago then, like...
Yeah, the 5th of November is the day. I remember. It's good. I have the videos on my phone to remind me. But yeah, from that day, I set myself a goal of 100 days to heal, to reverse the chronic pain in my body. And it was a challenge, and it was a lot of willpower and battling through results, like lack of instant results. So I really had to push through, but the intent was there. I vlogged the whole process on my YouTube channel. 100 days came. I think it was around day 98 or something like that. I just woke up and I was like, wow. There was a time around day 87, I think, where I went to the gym. I didn't do much because my legs were hurting. I did some running on that machine I was telling you about yesterday, the self-propelling treadmill. And then I did some quadricep stretches. And I went into the supermarket and I walked in and I was like, something doesn't feel right. And I was thinking, like, wow, I'm not in pain. And I just skipped and jumped through the supermarket. I was so happy. That was like a huge relief. I've never smiled as much as I did in that moment.
Wow. And were you still smoking then also, like normal cigarettes?
No, I quit cigarettes for 8 months.
Then okay.
Yeah. After that.
So I can promise that you're also gonna feel a health increase the coming days with your smoking.
Yeah, even I've tried to quit smoking multiple times, and even within the first week, first few days, you can really feel it.
Yeah.
Like you can breathe properly, you can smell properly, you can just it's just it just opens you up so much. You don't realize just how much well, I guess you do, but
I was a chain smoker myself. I'm now 8 years. I'm free from smoking, but I smoke 30 cigarettes a day. It's interesting that because you had like a physical challenge and I had a mental challenge, so that we combine our forces in that way. And I really feel there is like a compatibility between us. So,
I see mine more as like psychosomatic. So a mental issue, but manifested as physical pain.
Of course.
Because that was really the key to all of it, was just realizing that I was manifesting this physical pain because not only had I labeled myself as someone who had physical pain and someone who suffered, but because I hadn't treated the actual the cause of the pain. It was something I overlooked for a long time. And when I met an energy healer, he really dug deep with me and helped me to realize what it was that was causing it, and to accept it and to move on from it. And
because some people, they get away with maybe what you are doing, and some people don't. And the reason is because at a deeper level, like our energetical body can do so much more to heal ourselves than our physical form can do. So the physical can really contribute to increasing our health. But if we are doing it from a place of resistance, then we're always going to be stuck in that. And that's why I also don't believe that people who have an alcohol addiction need to stay being alcoholics. So I believe you can free yourself from any addiction, and even once in a while have a beer or a whiskey. But it's really about getting out of place of resistance. And I think it can be healthy to quit for a long period of time, but then you need to like also be free of that and just like be, yeah.
So is that something you sort of integrate into your into the freeing yourself?
Yeah. So the guy Larry that I talked about, we have an agreement that in 1 year we're gonna have a drink together.
Yeah.
When we quit, we're gonna have a whiskey together in an Irish pub.
Yeah.
Wherever we're gonna be that time in the world, what we're gonna do, that's part of it.
Yeah.
So you can. The more you resist something, the more it persists. So we don't need to quit anything. We need to free ourselves from it. That's really. Else the company would be called "Quit to Freedom," but that would be more enslavement than freedom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I really resonate with that idea of intent and resistance around it, because, as I mentioned, I saw a lot of specialists and physiotherapists and all these people while I was suffering with chronic pain, and trying to do physical exercise at the gym, any sort of stuff just ended up making it worse, because it was like I was so attached to this identity of being in pain, and the moment it started hurting, I was like, wow, it's just making it worse and worse and worse, and I would just lose motivation.
Yeah.
It was only really when I started going spiritually and emotionally and mentally was really when I got the breakthrough. It was through acceptance and love. That was a lot of the process for me, was visualization and manifestation and meditation, all on love and acceptance of myself. Like I mentioned, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I had such a low self-esteem and lack of self-worth that the first step was really just to love myself again, accept me for who I am.
I also believe that people who go through great suffering and then they also heal from it, that they also have a huge gift to give to the world. One of the reasons why I also named my company, our company, need to get used to that, Pure to Freedom, is because when I was a chain smoker, I read the book of Alan Carr, Quit Smoking, like 5 times. And there is like a chapter he talks about the difference between quitting and freeing. And that's how I came up with the idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's, people who suffer a lot, that they actually get bigger challenges. And in that way, they also can provide bigger value to others.
100%.
Yeah.
That's really the message that I found the most value in after I'd healed. I'm still healing now, but I questioned for so long during them 10 years of why me? Why do I have to suffer for this long? Why do I have to go through this? Why is no one else around me unable to stand up? Why does everyone else get to do what they want to do and I have to be here in pain, suffering? And through the process of self-acceptance and self-love and all those things, I really started to realize that to truly be able to help people, you have to be able to empathize with them, and you have to go to the deepest depths to be with them, resonate with them, and pull them out and guide them out, guide them back out with you. So now looking back at it, I actually see it as a blessing that I really went through 10 years of trauma, of just pure trauma. Very hard to accept a few of the things down the way, like that it was me that was creating it, that I was the problem with it. But I came to accept it. I came to love it. And the moment I started doing these things, it was like a snowball. Do all these little things. It's like a curve like this. There's none of this. It's you do the work, maybe you don't see some results, and then all of a sudden it starts going up, you're getting pumped up, and then boom. You're you're free and you're living your best life. So with Cure to Freedom, I know you said before previously you worked with low achievers and people at sort of lower level, lower frequency. Who is it that we're aiming to sort of help with Cure to Freedom moving forward?
So something I noticed is that when I coach people who aren't that motivated or wants to try something but they never had the experience of having any success in their life, that they tend to relapse into their limiting programming. So they come to the points like, yeah, I want to get a coach and I want to become better, but then they see, oh, it costs money and I'm losing money, and they get back into their old paradigm. And so people who are ready to really shift that paradigm, they know when they invest in someone who has the experience and who can give you the accountability, that you save a lot of money and time by that. But people who are still in that old paradigm where they think I can do everything by myself, I can find it on YouTube, I can find it on Google, I can read a book about what he's saying. Those people, they don't really understand the value of a coach or someone they can really get accountability from, and someone who helps you on all of those areas. So people are looking for like the miracle thing, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But it's really about how can you really stay accountable for someone else and for yourself, of course. And that's like my audience, people who are really ready for that, and that's want to get their business to the next level, and learn to see that what they are sacrificing is actually the rewards of it.
Yeah, I think people that you've worked with in the past and that I've spent a lot of time with and does work with in the past, and they really see the main thing when it comes to a coach is the negative of spending the money. It's like, how am I going to get this money back straight away? How am I going to?
Yeah.
They see it as a lose rather than looking at the potential for growth and the real transformation they can have.
So something I've noticed is that when I started coaching like 4 years ago, that I was always looking for a way to help others, and also to help myself in the same way. So when you learn to reverse the question, how may I serve, then the universe will respond. But I see many coaches who want to coach for their own benefits.
Yeah.
And that's really where I want to make the difference. And where I had my own limiting paradigm was that I thought that I could only do that with people who live in a scarcity mindset. But then when I moved to Costa Rica for 3 years and I met people like Larry and other people that I cannot mention because they want to stay anonymous, is that I noticed I could also provide them value, and I could also really enjoy that process. And that was like when I started to make that shift for myself.
Yeah. So it's a big paradigm shift for you to really be in that environment and understand that you can truly help people who are much further along and further along in their life path, but really sort of take them to that next level. Yeah.
I believe that the new world, where Eckhart Tolle talks about and other spiritual teachers, is a community of people. And that's when you want to be part of the new world, not the new world order, by the way, but just the new world in the sense of an awareness. That I want to invest my time in those people who really want to see each other grow, people who aren't jealous, who aren't comparing themselves, and they might live abundantly financially. But yeah, I think that's really important to let that group grow, because as they grow, they also affect the rest of the world.
Absolutely. It's like a symbiotic relationship between not only us and the people that we're helping, but between the entire community itself. Everybody's helping each other, everybody's growing together. And I think the main reason why we've chose to go with high achievers and aspiring achievers is because they're at that point where they're ready, not only to change themselves, but to be a part of something bigger and really contribute to the people around them.
Exactly.
And not only take care of themselves, but take care of their family, take care of people that have supported them throughout their life and enabled them to do the things that they want to do. maybe they haven't found much success so far, maybe they haven't found the right vehicle, but they're really ready to take their life to that next level. No matter where you're at in your journey, there's always more to do. There's always more ways you can improve. There's always ways you can take your life to that next level.
Yeah.
And yeah, we see a lot of growth with these people because they're willing to, they're open to shifting their paradigm and raising their paradigm. Whereas the people that we may have worked with in the past, they're really sort of created a ceiling for themselves.
Yeah, what I notice is that when you can impact people who live at a higher level, then they can also impact the collective. And so
a lot more, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I really wanted to not make it that much about myself, but really about how can I raise the frequency, because in the end, the aim with Cure to Freedom is to raise the frequency in an abstract way. If you do it like in a few words, that would be what I want to do, what we want to do with that. So
yeah, it's I think we have a really amazing vision for the future and creating a beautiful network of people across the world. And yeah, it's really exciting stuff, to be honest. So the main sort of two groups that we're working with now are high achievers and aspiring achievers. So high achievers are obviously people who are already making a lot of money, very successful in their business, but maybe they're just searching for their purpose. They've sort of drifted from their purpose and looking for ways in their personal life where they can really feel at peace within themselves and accepting of themselves.
Yeah, well, one of the books that helped me to understand that mechanism is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And there he also talks about that people who always live in scarcity, it's about the 7 sins, by the way, this book. It's about lust, gluttony, laziness, and all of those things, how they affect our lives. And so people who get a lot of wealth in their lives, they might have more challenges with how can they use that wealth, because they might you see with a lot of actors that they become fat, or that they lose themselves in lustful things. And what I've seen with the people I've coached, people who are at that higher level of life, we can say financial higher level reasons, there are many other areas in life that are important.
Yeah.
That they have a hard time to manage that energy from what we call money. And so when you want to really be happy, then there comes a limit to that. So many people who want to have a lot of wealth, they think that if I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be happy, because I can buy a Ferrari, I can go to prostitutes and sniff cocaine, just an example.
Yeah.
But if you really learn to inner manage yourself, even when you don't have a lot of wealth, then you can bring that also with the bigger wealth, and how to really spend your time and spend your money, and how to invest that in yourself and the people around you, your community, and all of those things. And I've seen it be a challenge for many of those people, because they always have people that want something from them because they have that wealth, and secondly, they don't feel like they lack the purpose with a lot of times. So
yeah, I really like the idea that it's so easy to sort of succumb to these deadly sins and really allow these vices to take control of your life and really lose your own personal control of your own life, which is why I really resonate with the aspiring achievers. I think we both do, in the fact that we both always wanted more from life, and we were both obviously down a very dark path. And helping people to realign with that purpose has been super powerful for us. We were able to realign with our own purposes and heal ourselves. We've we really lived that life, and yeah, I see a lot of people around me in my environment who want more from life. They have that fire inside them. They know they have potential deep down somewhere, but the internal environment they've created for themselves and the external environment that they actually live in have almost created a bubble around them and preventing them from stepping out their comfort zone and made them afraid of what the unknown may be. Because of all this negative programming they have in their life, they are afraid that everything outside of it, if I change my environment, if I do different things, if I speak to different people, it's only going to have a negative impact on their life. But I see that fire inside a lot of people, and that's why, for myself anyway, that was where the biggest transformation was stepping out my comfort zone and changing my environment externally, basically forcing through it, even though I had safety within my bubble of business being handed down to me. I just knew there was something different. And I know a lot of people have that. They know inside them they have potential. Everybody has power. Everybody has unlimited power within themselves to achieve anything they want and create the world around them, create the life that they live. But this idea of the environment you live in has really created a bubble around people, and I think it's important to really show people and help people to understand that there is abundance in life for everybody.
Yeah. For me, really important paradigm shifts, and that's also when people ask me, how did you cure from schizophrenic disease? So I don't want to go too deep into anymore for now. Is that I removed the focus from myself. So there are levels in life, and I see that also with people who are high achievers and people who are aspiring achievers. There is a difference in their motivation. Yeah. So aspiring achievers, they usually want to get to a certain level for their own benefits, and they want to be healthier. They want to have more financial stuff and etc. But high achievers, how they became high achievers was because they removed the focus from themselves and how can they serve. And as a result, they also benefit themselves, of course. But it's like when you have a vision for yourself, the vision is here. But if it's for the future, then you can put it like for your community, for the world, then it becomes something way bigger. And so for me, when I healed from my incurable disease, my motivation was, how can I help others? And that made me cure myself. I believe that an important cure to freedom is that you really start to see that we came from something way more than this physical body, and that the divine can work through us, and that and the more as we become a part of this ecosystem, the more it's going to benefit ourselves, of course, but also the more we can change into this world. And of course, there are evil ways how to acquire money. You can start an oil company or a McDonald's, or you can go into the coaching business and even do stupid things with that. You have many selfish people who just want to sell you, I'm gonna teach you how to make money if you buy my course, how to make money. For example, you see it everywhere. Yeah. And where I want to really make a difference with what we are doing here with Cure to Freedom is that I want people to really know and see that's the time and the money they invest in the energy. Because you have time, money, and energy, those things, and they are all the same. That you really see it's gonna benefit you, and it's not gonna be an empty promise, but you will really see it even before you start with it. And they just stay motivated, they stay consistent, and they get shit done. And they manifest what they desired. And it's like a no-brainer about, it's what I want to do, and I want to go all in with it. Because as long as you are indecisive, you will always go back to your old paradigm and people. That's you could say, difference between low achievers and aspiring achievers, or I call them drifters. When you drift away from your purpose, that they always go back to the old paradigm. So they go one step in and then they go out again. I've seen in many of my coaching that people want to start, they're super excited, and then they see the reality changing, and oh no, okay, I'm gonna go back to drinking. Oh no, I'm gonna go back to smoking. And so it's really about, you can help people until a certain level, but then they need to be ready themselves. And that's the difference in the people who we want to help. People need to be ready for it. If you're not ready, don't waste our time, because I will waste you. That's a quote from Hughes. So I think it's important to really make that distinction.
Yeah, for sure. It sort of comes down to being ready and open to the teachings of someone who has been through it, and someone who really has the experience in their own personal life, and not only can empathize, but who genuinely cares about helping other people and really helping them to raise up. I think a paradigm that a lot of aspiring achievers and maybe low achievers have is that wealth is transactional. Wealth is like a reward for things, whereas the way we see it is when you align with your life purpose and you're doing something that you love in service of others and helping to raise the frequency of everybody, wealth is just a caveat of that. It just comes naturally. And so a lot of our teachings, a lot of our coachings, and from our own experiences, that holistically improving your entire life, realigning with your life purpose, and spending a lot of time working on yourself and accepting yourself and understanding yourself and being in service of others, the money just comes.
It's a result. It's not a goal. Like happiness is a result of a purposeful life, but it's not a goal. And people who chase happiness, who chase money, will always end up being broke and unhappy.
Yeah.
Maybe not broke, because you also have people with pure intentions to get there, but they will end up unhappy for sure. It's like a really important quote. It's from Sadhguru, by the way. The purpose of life is to give life purpose. And I added my own sentence to it. So it's Nick's quote. And we find that purpose by being in service and doing what we love. And then everything will be results of that. That's really important, I think. So what we want to provide for people, our audience, so people who are aspiring achievers, let's just focus on that group for now. They usually feel overwhelmed with all things they want to do. And so I was a manager for a couple of years where I had a group of 15 people and where I need to build structures for them. And it is something I always give into my coachings, how to make a timesheet, how to make a money sheet, and all of those things. So that's something we provide, how you can create a structure for yourself and how to really like see yourself growing in that way. When you create financial stability for yourself and you know how your day is going to look like, structured, like something we emphasize a lot is doing a morning and evening routine, because that is really going to prime your day and also prime your night, because when you sleep, the subconscious gets programmed and so on goes through during the day. So there are many things that people don't see that are important. Like every second of our day is so important, and if we're gonna like waste it on swiping on social media while taking a shit, or if we're going to watch porn or watch Netflix the whole day, then you are wasting your energy and time that you could be spending on your life purpose. So and you can find a motivation on YouTube how to do that, but in the end, when you have a real life coaching, a one-on-one, if you have accountability in someone who sees through your mask, then you can really start to make those changes.
Your excuses, and sort of call you out on make you, because I know you're aware when you're in that position, you are aware that you are wasting your energy and your time on these things. But when you have someone who can hold you accountable not coming from a place of judgment or hatred, but out of a place of love, then it really motivates you to want to do better for yourself.
Yeah.
I think something that is really a problem with the younger generation, especially, is that at nighttime they don't understand the true power of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Rest is so important, and sleep is where most of the healing actually happens, because your body is your conscious mind isn't active, and it's all subconscious. The subconscious is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the right state when you're going to sleep, it just nullifies and really affects the amount of healing you can do, not only physically but spiritually and emotionally and mentally. So yeah, I think it's a huge one for having a morning and evening routine. It doesn't have to be something extensive to start off with. That's something we see with a lot of people, is that they try to do too much straight away and really mess up the system. They plan out some huge morning routine or plan out their entire day minute by minute, and just that big change is really not possible it's not sustainable for longevity.
Yeah, it takes around 3 months to like master a habit. So to really make it yourself, like automate it, like you clean your teeth every morning and evening. Hope you're doing that. That's the same thing with implying new habits. And so when you add too much habits at once to it, then you will fail, because the subconscious is not ready for such big changes and shifts. And so what happens is that the system like collapses and you relapse into your old paradigm. And so when you do this too much, then you will go back to the other the extreme. And so what's really important for that is that when you get excited about something new, that you don't do it too fast. So for example, Jack, you are now at your third day of not smoking, and I am at my third day not drinking coffee. We made a commitment to each other. But I know if I want to like change something big in my life, I need to wait at least for 3 months before I will do something else.
Yeah.
Because you need to allow your body and your subconscious to make those deeper changes. And then it will become something you will last for years until you die, for example. Mm-hmm. So, and many people who live in a scarcity mindset, they think, oh, I can do this myself. But something that I noticed for myself is I also have a coach, and my coach also has a coach. So when you learn to invest your money in yourself and in someone who has the experience and someone who can have that talk with you, because me and Jack, we also have those conversations where we coach each other, then you are going to grow so much more than if you always thinking, I need to do it myself. Mm-hmm. And that is really where the difference is. The same thing with the life purpose part, where we help people with to guide it. Sometimes you need to have someone to talk to, and maybe that person can say 5 words that get you to where you need to be. But if you only like are saying your mental mind, if you don't go into the experience and you keep on waiting, procrastinating because you want things to be perfect, because you're fearing to fail, then you will always end up in your old paradigm. And that's where you really can make a change, when you find someone for that external motivation.
One of the most powerful quotes I heard during my 100 days of healing was, the biggest waste of time is listening to someone who's not living the life that you want to live. So not only does this relate to listening to high achievers or people who are living their life purpose and are happy, but it also relates to not listening to yourself, because where you are right now is not where you want to be, right? You're seeking more, you want more. And so if you're just trying to do it by yourself and listening to yourself, like I know the way, I can do this by myself, it's just your ego filling itself up.
Yeah. Or another trap that I ran into so much when I was in my 20s, like I was trying to convince my environment. That's also a huge waste of time. So you're believing in something else that you can be, and then you're trying to convince your parents, your friends, and all of those people who don't like believe in you, and they don't do it with a bad intention. They just see like, dude, this is your timeline. You're not going to go to Costa Rica. You're not going to become a coach. You are mentally ill for so many years, and that's your life. Accept it.
Yeah.
And you need to be realistic. And every time I heard that word, be realistic, I really had an allergy for that word, because I'm not realistic.
Yeah.
Because I'm changing reality. That's not realistic to do. So one of the podcasts that really changed my mind, and I will always advise people to listen to, is Insights and Perspectives by Joseph Rodriguez. I listened to that podcast for over 4 years, and sometimes daily. I re-listened some episodes, maybe 10 or 100 times. And what he says is guard your mind. So when you expose yourself to an environment that is not feeding you, then guard your mind from it. And like only accumulate information that will lift you and raise you to that newer frequency. So when I was working as a manager, I had many colleagues who were living in a limiting programming, and I still love those people, and there's nothing wrong with them, but they just were expressing all day about how things were bad, and etc. and etc. And what happens is the subconscious mind receives the information and makes it a part of us. It doesn't like become instantly a part of us. Like, hey, after you say you're an asshole, you become an asshole.
Yeah.
But say it 1,000 times over 10 years and you will be an asshole. That's how it works. So the more that you can receive information that lifts you up, the faster you're going to grow. So one of the things that's really like changed my reality and also got me to a new level of success was when I quit watching porn. There were many like influencers I found on YouTube that's also helped me that, and reading books of Mantak Chia, how to cultivate your sexual energy as a man. And I know this is something I'm passionate about, this not about porn, but about cultivating sexual energy and how to really transmute that into your business. And so for me, I see all of these levels you have when it comes to addiction. Yeah. You have like the hard drugs, that's like you say the hardest thing, and it can be cocaine and alcohol. They can be all in the same category depending on the person. For me, alcohol wasn't a hard drug, but I know for some people it is. But we can keep it in that category. Yeah? So, and then if you would go to a lower category, it would be cannabis. It's a soft drug. And it's still like, I was addicted to it so much, and it's completely destroys your productivity. And I think we can go deeper into that later in a topic. You also, Jack.
Yeah. For sure.
And then the next level would be cigarettes. It's what you are now tackling down. I'm 8 years free of it. And then what I also always combined with cigarettes was coffee. And now I'm really like, I quit with coffee a couple of years. But now I'm really choosing, it's like, it's not good for me. I know some people can manage it, but I can't. But something I noticed that is like the queen of addictions that keeps them all together is lust. And so the porn industry is like an entity, and we get addicted to it, to our visuals. And so it's a pornographic addiction we have. And so a really important difference between men and women is that men, they are visual. So they like nice boobs and an ass, if you're straight. And women, they are more into like feeling stuff and having words. And so there is like, that's like a feminine and masculine. And so the porn industry is mostly a problem for men, also women, but mostly for men. And what happens is that you overindulge yourself with these images because it's our biology. There is nothing stronger than our drive to procreate. And so it makes it super addictive. And at the same time, it's also very accepted in our society because I think the internet is full of it. I don't know how many percentage it was, but
it's a big one.
Yeah, it's like a huge percentage of the internet's memory being used for porn.
Yeah, and even if you look at the quick rise of OnlyFans, right? it just shows you just how powerful the industry is and how much of a grip it has on men.
Yeah.
I really don't see much women who are addicted to that thing.
Yeah. And so the thing is that when you want to cure yourself to freedom, you need to let go of that entity. Yeah? So the entity can only grow as people give it power and watch it. So I think people who are addicted to porn, they also have like a huge responsibility, because they are giving energy to an entity, also giving just energy to child prostitution, to human trafficking. It's all connected with just watching on that screen. And so this is, I'm going to go back to accountability. This is like the easiest thing about it is that no one sees you. You're all alone in a room, and you can just like, and no one will know. And so, but the thing is, in the end, you will know.
Yeah.
There will come a moment that you will see the film of your life when you leave this vehicle we call our body, and you will see all of those images that you are whacking yourself off. And so one thing that really helped me is, I don't know if you know the movie, the Truman Show, with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Is that you need to imagine yourself that you are being filmed full time. But not in like a way that you would become schizophrenic like I did, but really in a way that you look at like every fucking second of my when I'm alive, I want to be the best version of myself I can be.
Yeah.
And a really good example is that when you receive people, you want to keep your house clean. Well, you want to keep your house clean for yourself, and that's like real accountability. And that's something that really helped me a lot. So I like to keep, I know you're now visiting my place here, but I like to keep it clean also when you're not here. So it's I want to keep the house clean. So it's about the external house, the physical house, but also the house around us. And you can extend this to any level, because this is something that Tony Robbins says. The work we do in private shows how it reveals us how we are in public. Yeah? So the more that you do that inner work, the less you wank yourself off on hookers, and really do your inner work, the more you're going to be magnetic for your environment. So like the more you do your inner work, the more like everything will come to you. And this is like why I am so passionate about the topic of sexual transmutation, because for me it was like a life changer in my relationships, in my business life. It's like the cup of Hermes, like they call it. So it's so important to really learn to cultivate that. And I know there is now in the YouTube world a rising of this information, and I hope it will keep on rising, because this will be the way how we can defeat that entity.
Yeah.
And how it will stop having power over us.
Yeah, I love what you talk about the private work, because when I was overcoming the chronic pain, my energy healer, my coach during that time, spoke to me about this idea where if you were to swap bodies with the person you love the most in the world, and you had to give it back to them within a year, how would you take care of that body? You would love that body. You would make sure that when you gave that body back to that person, it would be in the best shape of its life and feeling amazing. You wouldn't do anything to harm that person you love. So why are you not doing that for yourself at every moment? And the work that you do alone really has a huge impact, because you're shifting your own paradigm. Yes, it's important to have someone who is able to hold you accountable, but when you really free yourself, it's when you're able to, wake up excited and wake up happy and ready and willing to really take care of yourself. And that's that conversion of energy through you into the outside world is when the magic starts to happen.
Yeah.
You really start to attract all the abundance and opportunities that you may have never thought possible. I never thought I would. Same with me. What I had was classed as an incurable disease, but through accepting and loving myself and really shifting and raising my paradigm, I'm over it, cured from it, and now I'm able to help other people, and I see that as my role and my duty to help other people out. Maybe they don't share the same specific problem as I did, but it's really about shifting how you think about the world, but also within yourself.
And also something really important that I learned along the way is that helping people, it's not about you need to be like a Jesus or a Buddha to do that. So you can like help people at the level you are at. And I'm at the level, you're at the level, and we just help where we can. Something I learned also from one of my coaches. And so it's so interesting when you start to look life at that way, because when you stop being selfish, when you stop watching Netflix or just like being crap for yourself, because when you actually, what I've learned is that when you chase short-term dopamine, even when it would not affect people in that you're alone, and you're just like eating crap and chasing short-term dopamine, you're actually being selfish. Because the less that you become the best version of yourself, the less you are going to be able to give that back to the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm like a couple of months back in Belgium, actually almost 2, since 3 years Costa Rica. And I notice how people are always like looking really mad. And then I realized, but they are so selfish. Because I need to look at their faces the whole day. And so if they would smile, which then so it's so interesting how when you start to zoom out to every detail of your life, how much responsibility we have being in this life. The only illusion that there is that we don't. And this entire system is made in that model that you can be selfish, that you can be gaming the whole day, and you can eat like crappy foods and just like live in a shell, because there is like a whole corporation benefiting from that. Like many multinationals, they want us to be disempowered. And people who are living inside the matrix, when they look at, it's another coach, it's another entrepreneur, they really have like this idea about that we are like a trend that will pass by, like vapors, and like, I don't know, just saying a few things. But in the end, when you really zoom out to that whole thing, then I think it's one of the best things you can do is just to work on yourself.
Yeah, I see a big problem with aspiring achievers is that their whole previous life, maybe they have had some success in jobs or whatever it may be, but their entire paradigm has been an exchange of time or energy, and you get money in return. And so when they start to progress or they want more, they have this idea that, okay, I'm going to do this, and they have expectation of return, instant return from that. Because a lot of people, they just go to work and they get paid at the end of the week or at the end of the month. And so it's really about understanding that you should be of service to people because you want to. It's almost I don't want to say selfish, because it's not selfish. You're serving people without expectation of return, but with the intent of just helping people wherever you can, then it will all come back to you anyway. I think that big shift in understanding of how the world works is something that's very hard to do by yourself, because if you're helping someone and you don't get something clear and vivid, like physical in return for that, you're like, oh, that was a waste of time, I don't want to do that. But it's very much for the long term. There are no get rich quick schemes. There are no completely change your life overnight. It really is the hours you put in and the intent behind everything you do.
Yeah, we talked about that during our walk yesterday. And something I also said then was, even when you would become rich, you would not be happy, because you would not be. It's something I learned. So I had a small inheritance I got a while ago, and I never had that amount of money. So what happened was I received an energy form I never had, and I lost it because I did not make that money myself. And so when you receive something that you haven't worked for yourself, you can see that's like people. I have friends who started from nothing and they built their entire empire. Like they are now millionaires, and so they earned the money themselves. And then I have friends who inherited the money from their parents. I'm not one of those people, by the way. So when you see how they use money, they don't know how to so they always like spend way more than all the rest, and they don't know how to earn it back. So that's a huge difference. And I think when you learn to so for me, when we talk about this topic about money, the skill how to make money is way more important than money itself. And it isn't even about money, it's about the service. And money is a way to create time for yourself, that you don't need to work and slave for someone else. And so that's why during our coachings, we're going to talk about this a lot. And if you feel resistance for that word, for the word money, then you need to let go of all of the limiting beliefs you have about it, because it's just a means to an end. And that's all it is. It's a means to an end. A means that we can extend our service to the world that we give, and that we can use the time we have beneficially. And it's the same with influencing. You can influence people in a bad way and in a good way, but in the end, the choice is always up to us. And so for me, the thing that we call money is an energy that takes responsibility, and that's all it is. And the more we have of it, the more responsibility we have.
I think we've covered a lot. There's a multitude of different things we can go into absolutely more detail in. So I think we'll wrap it up for now.
Awesome.
I like that you talked about means to the end, or at the end there, because I'm reading a book right now called Means and Ends, and one of the sentences in there I found really powerful was that the end cannot justify the means, because the means that you employ determine the nature of the ends that you produce.
Nice.
So it's not about, I have this big goal and it's going to affect everything. It's everything that you do in the now. Every single second of your life is what produces the end. Yeah. Right, dude, we'll wrap up for now. Thank you for listening, and check out all of the content we got coming soon across all of our pages. And if you feel like you resonate with any of the stuff that we said, or you're interested in talking with us at all, reach out to us, send us a message. We've got some really cool stuff coming soon. And have an amazing day.